Good morning, everybody. This is Van Hargis with Van Hargis Horsemanship, and welcome to the Ranch Road. Just a little quick drive from the house to the ranch. And while I do so, I thought I'd just share with you guys a little story. I'm going to share with you guys a story today about an incident several years ago. I get asked a lot, well, how do you know what to do and when to do it and that sort of thing whenever you're working with a horse? And the reality is I don't. I have no idea what I'm going to do or when I'm going to do it. So what comes next then? And I'm totally dependent on the information that the horse provides for me. And what I mean by that is that as I'm working with the horse, I'm watching and observing, and there's where the experience lies in. I'm watching very, very carefully the information that the horse is giving me, and I'm utilizing that information in accordance with the goal in which I've set for what we're trying to do, whatever that may be with that horse. Let's just say I might be working on forward motion. So as I begin to work with a horse, I'm already observing, finding out what this horse needs in the way of pressure, what he needs in the way of release, and I'm constantly looking for that one thing that I'm asking the horse to do, and then the moment I see even a hint of an effort toward that movement, I release the pressure, you see. So how do I know? And I really don't. I'm constantly studying the horse and looking for things that he needs in order for him to achieve whatever it is that I'm asking that horse to do. So I kind of hope that helps you a little bit. I'm going to share a story, though, about several years ago. This was prior to me, and this was several years ago, of course, but this was prior to me going to Road to the Horse twice. And we were doing the State Fair, Oklahoma, and I think at that time it was a 10-day fair. It might be longer now, it might be shorter, I don't know, but at that time it was a 10-day fair. Well, during those 10 days, I started 9 colts in 10 days. All the horses came from the same facility, came from the same ranch, so they were all bred the same, they were all raised the same, they were very uniform, I guess you could say. Well, there was one young man in there particular that was watching every presentation that I did. He watched very carefully. He even took notes. He asked a few questions here and there. But it was very interesting because at the end of the last day, and as we were packing up our trailer and getting ready to head back home, he came to me and he said, "Mr. Van," he said, "if you don't mind, sir, I've got a question." I said, "Sure, yeah, what is it?" He said, "Well, first of all, I was here, all 10 days, and I watched you start these 9 colts." "Yes, sir, I really appreciate that. Thank you for your time," I said. He said, "Well, I do have a question. I'm a bit confused." So, "Oh, what did I do to confuse you?" He said, "Well, you started 9 colts, but sir, you never did the same thing twice. And I'm trying to figure out how to start a colt, and I was looking for a routine and looking for things to do, and yet 9 colts, you never did the same thing twice." And God oftentimes put words in our mouth for us, right? And without hesitation, I just looked at him and says, "Well, sir, I never had the same horse twice." You see, because what I tend to focus on is that, yes, I know what I want to achieve, and I had that in the back of my mind. And starting these colts, my goal was, if possible, to get these colts going, get them saddled for the first time, and get them ridden for the first time, and hopefully all that be very, very uneventful. But you see, even though the colts all came from the same facility, and even though they were all raised the same, they were bred very similarly, they were each different. There was one colt I remember in particular that I literally had him saddled within 15 minutes, and I was probably on his back within 30 minutes, and I just spent the rest of that hour-long time just kind of tooling around on the colt and just working with him. Yet there was another one that I remember that it took me probably all the way up until the last 5 minutes before I got on him. And keep in mind, I'm not a big time person. It's just that sometimes you do these events like that, there is a time limit on what you have to do because they have other events going on. So oftentimes I'm used to working under that sort of pressure. My disclaimer is, if you're at home, don't worry about the time, but worry about worry about your process. Listen very carefully to the horse. Determine what you want to do by what the horse needs in order for you to achieve that goal that you've set for both you and your horse that day. Every horse is different, but at the same time, the outcome can be very similar to the same. You see, because the end of that ninth colt, all 9 of those colts were riding around and doing pretty darn good, even though the process was different. We started the same, we ended the same, the process itself was different, and the process itself was unique to the situation and unique to the horse. I hope that little tidbit helps you guys today. And again, just know that I'm very grateful for you guys following me on the ranch road. And until next time, this is Van Hargis with Van Hargis Horsemanship.